Okay, now we're going to learn how we can graph a parabola to find a solution. So, for this, turn to page 19. And the first one we're going to look at on page 19 is, this says solve negative x squared plus 2x equals negative 8. So now this is asking us to solve an equation, and we're going to do this by graphing. But you can't graph an equation, but you can graph the related function. So to do that, I add 8 to both sides, and now I can see that this is in standard form, and the related function is y equals negative x squared plus 2x plus 8. So I am going to graph this, and this is going to help us find a solution. So to graph this, first I find the axis of symmetry. So our axis of symmetry is x equals negative b, which is negative 2, over 2a, which is negative 2. So it's x equals 1. So I go here, x equals 1, my axis of symmetry. And now I'm going to plug in f of 1. When I plug in f of 1, I get negative 1 squared plus 2 plus 8. So this is 9. So my vertex is 1, 9. So I go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is my vertex. Now, I can graph this by counting, or I can graph this by making a table. So I'm going to try the shortcut method, which is counting. Now, a is negative 1. So if I go over 1, I go up 1 times a, but a is negative 1, so I go over 1, down 1, over 1, down 1. Over 2, up 4 times negative 1, which means down 1, 2, 3, 4. And over 3, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So when I graph this, it looks like this. Now, here we see that the x-intercepts are 4 and negative 2. So the solution to the related equation is 4 and negative 2, because an equation that is set equal to 0, that means y equals 0. So when you're finding the solution, you're really finding the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are the same as the solution to the equation. Now, we can show this a different way. Here was our original equation. Now I'm going to solve this by factoring. So I'm looking for two numbers that when multiplied equal negative 8, but add up to negative 2. And that's going to be negative 4 and positive 2. So that means the solution to this equation would be 4 and negative 2. And look, my x-intercepts are 4 and negative 2. So it shows you that your x-intercepts are the solution to your equation. So now let's try another one. So let's turn the page and let's try this equation. X squared minus 4x equals negative 4. So it says solve this equation by graphing. So first I set it equal to 0 to put it into standard form, and then I write the related function. So I'm going to graph this function. Okay, so to graph this function, first I find the axis of symmetry. Negative b, negative 4 is positive 4 over 2a, so x equals 2. So I go to x equals 2, graph my axis of symmetry. I plug in f of 2. I get 2 squared is 4 minus 8 plus 4. So f of 2 equals 0. So that means my vertex is 2, 0. So now I'm going to use my shortcut method, and now A equals 1, so it means I just go over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4, over 3, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, notice when I draw this, where is the x-intercept? Well, there's only one x-intercept, and it's at x equals 2, which means the solution to this equation is x equals 2. Well, let's see if we can factor it and see if we get the same answer. So this would be x minus 2 times x minus 2 equals 0, and I get an answer of 2 twice. So obviously we only write it once, and it shows that if your parabola has a vertex on the x-axis, you're only going to get one answer. When the parabola crossed the x-axis twice, you had 2 solutions. Well, now let's look at another one. Still on page 20, x squared plus 8 equals 2x, so we're going to solve this by graphing. First, I put it into standard form, and then I write the related function. So I'm going to graph this. Now, to graph this, first I find the axis of symmetry, and x equals negative b, which is 2 over 2a, so x equals 1. So x equals 1 is my axis of symmetry. I plug in f of 1, and I get 1 squared is 1 minus 2 plus 8. So 9 minus 2 is 7. So my vertex is 1, 7. Okay? So I graph 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to do the shortcut method. I'm going to go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 2, up 4. I'm running out of room. But does it really matter? No, it does not matter, because it's clear to me that this is not going to cross the x-axis. So therefore, if it doesn't cross the x-axis, there's no x-intercepts. And if there's no x-intercepts, there is no real solution. So there is no solution to this problem. Now let's try to factor it. Can I think of two numbers that multiply to equal 8 but add up to negative 2? And no, because the only factors are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. And the 2 and the 4 both have to be either positive or negative. So there are no real numbers that will multiply to 8 and add up to negative 2, so there is no solution. So let's just recap what we learned. We learned that if you graph a parabola and it looks like this and does not cross the x-axis or look like this, there will be no solution. If you graph a parabola and its vertex is right on the x-axis, whether it's going up or down, there'll be one solution. And if you graph a parabola and it crosses the x-axis twice, whether it's going up or down, there will be two solutions.